already give a good afternoon, good morning, a hello to everyone. Waiting a little bit more. And as you can see, we are here at the Code for Earth Q&A webinar for the call for participation of the 2026 edition. Okay, so welcome again, and welcome to the first of two Q&A webinars where we are addressing your questions for the 2026 edition of Code for Earth. This is Esperanza Cuartero, my colleague, and myself. I'm Atina, and we have also our colleagues from Trust IT Service, that's Sara Bozzi and Diego Domeniti. And then we have another special guest that will join us at the end of that will present at the end of the webinar, and that is Nadia Sadiki, and we will introduce her properly when it's time. So before I continue, I would like to hand over to Sara because we are curious. So Sara.
Hello everybody. Just a quick couple of random questions. I am gonna share my screen so you can see it. And we kindly ask you to join us at Mentimeter. The code is available on the slide. You can see it's 27348467. Otherwise, there's the link over there, and I'm gonna be pasting it in the chat as well so that you can start voting, and there you have it. And I'm gonna start my presentation. There we go. So the first question, and we already have a couple of answers. How did you hear about Code for Earth? Okay, most of you from LinkedIn post, we're really happy that that's working. At the ACMWF workshop in Bonn, that's very good. And the one from Destination Earth. Friend referred it to me from the ACMWF webpage. That's also very, very good. I think Atina and Esperanza will be very happy that this is coming from ACMWF as well. And does anybody else want to answer this? I guess no for the moment, but if you want, we'd be very happy to read your answers even later on. Let's go to the next one. And I would like to know, what is your country of residence? Okay, the UK, Cyprus, Germany, ooh, Switzerland, the Netherlands, okay, again, great. Okay. Okay, so if nobody has anything else, I think I can give back the floor to Atina. And thank you so much for answering our quick very quick survey. And you're welcome to stay as long as you want. We're going to have another webinar next week, so you will be able to see this all again once more. We kindly ask you to please wait until the presentations are finished to ask all your questions, and you can ask them directly in the chat. And just make sure that the option everyone or hosts and panelists is selected so that we can see your questions, and we will be happy to answer them at the end of the presentations. Thank you very much and enjoy.
Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going back. Good. Interesting to see we are a small group today, but I think I saw some names that I recognize. That's great. Okay, so now we have a little bit of knowledge where from you learned about Code for Earth, and we are now, short intro to the program, and then my colleague Esperanza, she will give you some tips and tricks and how to submit a proposal. What is a good proposal? The program, we run the program since 2018, and that's one of the key innovation actions from ECMWF, the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast. And we are supported by Copernicus, Destination Earth, and the EU's Africa Regional Centers of Excellent Activities under the Global Gateway strategy. Additionally, we have some partner organizations also this year. And all together, we are working to publish mentor-identified challenges, and they relate to earth science, weather, climate, atmosphere, Copernicus atmosphere monitoring or climate change service, Destiny. And we are inviting external talents, so-called participants, to provide solutions to meaningful project-driven solutions. Usually the teams or the participants, they work in teams. We had also single participants, but usually teams are, a little bit more agile, and they are guided if they have been selected by experienced mentors and experts. They are addressing these challenges, and these are all real-world problem statements. And they are trying to solve these problems or these challenges by using data science or coding and generally computing, AI, machine learning and the like. The selected teams that complete their project successfully, they are eligible for a financial contribution as recognition of their efforts and achievements. And probably most of you have been already on GitHub, because there you have the information which challenge comes under which funding scheme. And but I will come back to that later. So who can participate in the proposal? The Code for Earth is open to individuals and developer teams. I mentioned that already, but from diverse backgrounds, earth science in general, computer science, software development, meteorologists. Whenever you see a challenge that is interesting for you, we recommend to look into it and also submit a proposal. The program is also open to students at all levels, especially PhD and master students, but we also invite professionals or startups that are interested in shaping the future. And essentially everyone can submit a proposal from these areas, but you have to fulfill special eligibility rules. And here again, you will find, or you can find, all the information on GitHub. So here is my mouse. So if you have been on GitHub, you can go to any of the challenges, and there you will find a note just between the goal of the challenge and the description of the challenge, explaining the funding source. So, and if you can see, okay, it's an ECMWF funding source, like in this example, please read carefully the details in the terms and conditions under Article 3. There you have a description which countries or which people or who is eligible for a challenge under ECMWF funding, or if we go to any other challenge, let me just move to GitHub. You know, if you go, for example, for this challenge, you have again the description, what the funding source is, and this under the Copernicus program. And if you click on the terms and conditions and you go to Article 3, you can find here Copernicus related challenges and further description. This is an important aspect. It's very straightforward. It might be a little bit strange at the beginning, but you know, you go to the challenge, you find the funding source, and through the funding source, you can identify if you're eligible or not. And also, this is the time to say a thank you to our partners. This year, we have 4 partners that are supporting the program, and this is ENTSO-E. As last year, that's the organization representing the European Transmission System Operators. We have the University of Reading, and we have the Intergovernmental Authority on Development from Kenya, covering Eastern African countries. And we have also AfriClimate AI, that is a non-profit organization that is dedicated to harnessing the power of artificial intelligence, looking into sustainable and climate resilient Africa. I mentioned it before that we have an Africa stream this year for the first time, and that is supported by the European Union's Global Gateway Strategy. That is all about partnerships and enabling and strengthening partnerships with other regions of the world. So big thank you to our partners. Oops, sorry. So, but let's look into more detail. How does the program work? So we go in 4 steps from the call for participation, that is the current phase, to the final Code for Earth Day. Here is the overview. Currently, we are in phase 1. That's the call for participation. Then we are entering a selection phase. And in May, the selected teams, they enter the coding phase. And then in September, we wrap up and celebrate the closing of the 2026 edition with a Code for Earth Day in Bologna. But let's look in more detail. And so we start with the call for participation. And this is the point or the time where I would like to hand over to Esperanza Cuatero, my colleague. She's based in Reading, also working for ECMWF. Esperanza, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tina. Hello, everyone. I'm going to introduce you some practical recommendations and tips during the call for participation. Well, this year, Code for Earth, this edition has released 16 challenges, which can regroup into 4 streams or categories. These streams, the topics of these streams are data visualization, machine learning, software development, and the 4th stream, which is called Africa stream. All the challenges are available and unpublished on GitHub. So we encourage you to go to GitHub and browse the challenge and the challenge of your interest. And this is something very good to use. And there is a very great advantage using GitHub, because you have the opportunity to start a conversation with the mentors. The mentors are the brains behind the challenge. So they came up with the original idea of the challenge and also wrote the description of the challenge. So if you browse a challenge of your interest and you have some questions because or you need some clarification of any aspects, please type in the box of the challenge you choose and ask to these mentors a question. The feedback is very valuable, and you should integrate the feedback, their feedback to your proposal. So at this stage, the mentors are not going to rate your proposal. No, they are not going to evaluate it, but they are going to give you some input, which is very good for you, because in a way you can tailor the submission to the challenge you chose. And don't forget that the call for participation deadline is the 9th of April 2026. Yes. And now we would like to share with you some general considerations, but more than considerations are tips and recommendations. So our first one is be clear. So when it comes to explaining your problem or the solution, it's better that your test or your proposal, it needs to be understandable. Also stay focused to the requirements you have read in the challenge, and try to avoid don't add any complexity, don't be very ambitious, don't be very ambiguous, because your solution needs to be technically feasible in 4 months. These 4 months, which is the coding phase, is the period you have to develop your work, your software. So from May to the end of August. So it's much better if you are realistic and you stay focused on the requirements and create a proposal taking in this account. Also plan ahead. Yeah, now is the time to plan ahead and to prepare a table with a timeline, with milestones and deliverables. But I will explain a little bit later about this, which is a very relevant and important question. And our last recommendation is that you please make responsible and sensible use of AI tools. They are very good for cosmetics or for support your work, but don't replace it. At the end of the day, you need to know what the challenge is about. You need the knowledge to tackle the challenge. So during the coding phase, it will be you who is going to collaborate with the mentors and develop the software. So again, please make a sensible use of AI tools. Next slide, please. Yes. And now the submission. We imagine that you just selected a challenge and you need to fill out the submission form. So we are going through this. In general, there are 3 parts, quite defined parts in the submission form. So the first one is the first questions we ask is about the idea, the big picture, a project summary. So we need you to explain, to write in your own words what the problems is, what the challenge is. And why do you think this issue of the challenge of the requirements matters? And also who will benefit from your solution? This is a summary, a project summary. We ask you also a project title. So from experience, very descriptive titles are working fine. So titles which are very easy to retain or very, very precise are good. So choose one that is it keeps in your mind. Also, we need to know the motivations behind your selection of the challenge. So what inspires you? It could be very good to know. The next Next, yeah. The second part of the submission form is more related to the solution. I mean, this the explanation of your solution. So we need to know. We will ask you what exactly do you think you're going to build up? You want to develop. In this sense, explain very clearly and in a very concrete way how do you think you tackle the challenge. In this sense, are we asking for objectives? Objectives are main goals of those you want to achieve, and also outcomes. What impact do you expect, or what kind of results are you going to present at the end? Another bullet point which is important to include is the methodology. We need to know which kind of programming language are you going to use. I mean, is frameworks, platforms, technologies, and also the data as are in your mind is which data you would like to use to work with during this coding phase. Yes. And at the end of the submission form, we ask you for a timeline. What is this? A timeline we would like you to prepare in advance a sort of timeline where you can indicate the milestones and the deliverables you are going to present along these 4 months of coding phase. This is important because you need to know, or you should present an outcome at the end of coding phase. This is compulsory. So you need to present a result. So if you prepare in advance a timeline, it helps you to organize your own work, your workload, and you will be success. There's a guarantee of success at the end. You need to present something on time. You can upload this timeline file and also another file you think is interesting for us to know. An additional one, feel free to tell us about your team, for example. I don't know, Athina, if you want to add something?
Not, but maybe just, break it down into what is the idea, how will it work, how will you deliver, and who are you? So very well explained. Thanks.
Yes, and now when the deadline is the 9th of April, we say when the deadline is met, yes, after the deadline, welcome the evaluation process or the evaluation phase. And this is when the evaluators, which are the mentors of the challenge, they will review, they will rate and score all the proposals they have received to their challenge. So they have a list of evaluation criteria. Can you see on the screen? And based on them, they evaluate or review your proposal. So we would like you to point it out, as Athina is saying, in the FAQs of the Code for Ed website, there is a section dedicated to the selection process. So all these criteria, we encourage you to check in advance before writing your proposal what are the criteria that the evaluators will follow to rate your challenge. But bear in mind that not all the challenges have the same criteria. So on GitHub, you will find a section in every challenge at the bottom of the description with a section named evaluation criteria. Athina is pointing out. Yeah. Yes, not all of them have the same ones. It depends on the nature of the challenge itself. Yes, I can list it. The first one is comprehensibility. Second one is clarity and structure. We have been talking a lot about it. Feasibility. Feasibility is what I mentioned. Your solution needs to be technically feasible in 4 months. So please bear in mind this in advance when it comes to writing the proposal. Another criteria is future-proof approach, or easy to maintain. Another one is innovative approach. Please bear in mind that Code for Earth is a very innovative initiative. So this is something to take into account. Transferability, if applicable. And the last one is matching requirements. Matching requirements is referred to how well your solution fit with the original idea of the challenge and the requirements that you see on GitHub. And as I say, please go to the Code for Earth FAQ and you will find more information there. And now I handle Tina to continue the presentation with the different phases.
Thank you, Esperanza. Again, for the audience, for the participants in the call, just post your questions on the chat. We will take them after the presentation. So Esperanza explained you about the details, how to submit a good proposal, and what happens after that? So once we have received the proposals, we of course have to check the eligibility. Talked about that. And then we have a selection phase. This is when the Code for Earth team and the mentors, they evaluate the proposals, or rather the Code for Earth team does a pre-selection and the mentors evaluate the proposals they have received for their challenge. So by the end of April, so when there might be some questions from the mentors to the teams. So there might be some clarification meetings that we need to set up. And Esperanza mentioned also the use of AI. So maybe if the mentors have the feeling that AI was heavily used, but they don't see if the participants or the interested people do really have a knowledge about what they're talking about, so that there might be some clarification meetings. That will all happen in April, and by the end of April, we have hopefully the list of selected teams, and then we will announce them, and all the information will be, of course, shared on our website and on our social media. So what happens with the selected teams? So they're joining the coding phase. This is a 4-month phase where the teams are supported by their mentors and are working on the solutions as they proposed in their submissions. And usually there is every week or every second week a progress meeting with the mentors, and they guide you. But maybe Nadia can say a few more words on that. So during the coding phase, we will have 2 midterm webinars where we ask the selected teams to present what they have found. It's about halfway through the coding phase, just to share their findings so far, to keep the general community up to date, what is happening in the program. And this is the time where you innovate, you collaborate, and you develop open source software. I mentioned most of it. You can, very often the progress is also visible on GitHub sometimes during the coding phase. The GitHub repository are not public, but generally you can find all the information also on GitHub. After the coding phase, well, I mentioned that we are celebrating the termination or the finishing of the 2026 edition of the program. And this is when we invite all the participants that have successfully finished the coding phase and their submissions, not their work, their projects. We invite them this year to Italy, to the ECMWF in Bologna, where we celebrate the completion of the 2026 edition. Teams will present their work. So we will have also, this will be a hybrid event. And the most important aspect of the coding of the final day is also to network with other mentors, with other teams, and have fun. Good. So why should someone submit a proposal? And I think, it's straightforward. One aspect, I selected just a few here. So one aspect is you can join the community, the Code for Earth community. You can work on cutting edge real world projects supported by mentors and learn from mentors. And that is not only ECMWF colleagues, but also from our partner organizations that I've mentioned, ENTSO-E, University of Reading, ICPAC, and Climate AI. So this is something where you can, have a look into what is happening, how experts are working, how is the ECMWF working. And then, of course, if you're passionate about open source software, Code for Earth gives you an opportunity to really develop an open source software and push for innovation. And another aspect, if you're selected and you get awarded, if you're selected and finish your project successfully, you are awarded a financial contribution. And again, I would like to point you to GitHub because the information is also available there about this financial contribution. So before we open the general Q&A, I would like to give Nadia Sadiki the floor. Nadia and Zakaria Buhia, they were participants of the 2025 edition, and they are our model error detectives. So they worked on EvalKit, and I would like to hand over to Nadia, who will share her experience with the program with us and with the audience. Please, Nadia.
Thank you. I will share my screen. So hi everyone, I'm Nadia. I'm a software developer based in France, and my day-to-day work is building digital tools for the water sector. Things like flood mapping systems and time series platforms for monitoring water data. So I applied last year for Code for Earth because I wanted to put my skills into real use. I wasn't a software developer before joining my current job, so I became one. And when I started exploring the tools that we use, I saw that they can really make life easier. So Code for Earth gave me the chance to build something.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think we lost
meaningful that actually make a difference for the people at ECMWF. Working on forecasts for new domains that I never had real data and earth science. So moving to the project, yes. So the project I built was EvalKit, which stands for Evaluation Toolkit. It's a Python-based toolkit for detecting and diagnosing model errors in weather forecast data. The problem was simple. ECMWF's forecast evaluation team had no standardized tooling. Everyone was using different scripts, different languages, which made collaboration a bit hard. And especially with the new machine learning and high resolution models coming in, so that gap was becoming a real issue. So EvalKit has three main components. The first one is the dynamic weather mapping visualization tool, where you can click to explore forecast data visually. The second one, which is the interactive time series for comparing multiple models and for comparing also with observation to detect errors between the real data and the forecasted data. And the last one, which is the probabilistic forecast analysis tool that generates multiple plots, stamps, TDS, meteorograms that give you the full picture of uncertainty associated with the model. So the goal was to have one toolkit consistent, reproducible, and easy to use by everyone. And now, yes, I will share with you some tips about the proposal. Esperanza already shared with you the more important parts. So as Esperanza said, so the first one is that you have to solve a real problem. Like you don't have to just propose something technically cool, but you have to show that you understand the pain points that ECMWF's people are dealing with operationally and how you will solve it. Like that's what will draw attention to your application. The second one is that the proposal needs to be specific and feasible. We have to be clear about what we will deliver because at the end you only have 4 months. So you have to break it down, concrete milestones like matters more than vague ambitions. The third one, it's you have to show your skills honestly. You have to be honest what you know, what you will learn during the challenge because growth is also part of the project. So you will learn a lot about data sets, especially from the mentors. They don't expect you to know everything, but at least you have to have the main skills, like for example, coding and the programming language that you will use. And the fourth tip is about documentation. What I noticed is that ECM Code for Earth and ECMWF, so it values open science. So you have in the proposal to emphasize that you will document your code, you will make it reusable, you will make it reproducible, you will have proper documentation so that it can be easy to be used by everyone after the challenge. And now, yes. Moving to the challenges that I faced during the challenge, the Code for Earth challenge. So the first one was technical complexity. So my partner had already worked with GRIP datasets, but for me it was new. And the field also it was new. So you have to budget some time at the beginning of the challenge for that learning curve to start exploring the data set, to start, especially the data set that you will use for the challenge, like to understand the models, etc. The second one is feature versus deadline. I kept wanting to add things like one more metric, one more visualization. At some point, you have to decide what's actually in the scope of the challenge in order to meet the deadline. And the third one, it's time management. I was doing this challenge alongside my full-time job, so I had to block time during my days specifically for this challenge. So you have to treat your Code for Earth hours as a real commitment on your calendar. And the last one is knowing when to ask for help from your mentors. So the mentors are the one who have the experience in the data sets. They know it better than you. So instead of trying to figure things out on your own, reach out to your mentors and they will happily answer your questions. And finally, just to have a rough idea of the time, from my side and my partner, like we decided to have 1 hour and a half every day and like 4 hours on the weekend because that's when we have a lot of time. Of course, we had some time off during the summer break, but in total, like we worked 16 hours per week. So it's really something that you have to consider, like to have time for this. And yeah, it's not a small commitment, so go in with your eyes open. But what came after was really worth it. My professional network in earth science and ECMWF grow in ways I didn't expect. And honestly, the biggest personal gain was also getting properly familiar with the data that is available there, free for use, like for personal projects and even for my work. And also, of course, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of connecting and networking during the final day of the project. And we had the opportunity to meet our mentors in person. Like we spent the 4 months meeting them every 2 weeks for progress meetings. But meeting them in person, it's different. And yeah, of course, the opportunity also of speaking to you today. So that's it from my side. If you have any questions, you are welcome. And I will leave the floor to Athena again.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much, Nadia. For everyone, that was also interesting for us to hear this kind of feedback. Yes, so I have the last slide. It's a Q&A slide, but yeah, I would like to open the floor now for your questions. maybe also to Nadia. She had she has been doing she's participating in Code Forest. She knows what she's talking about. Or to Esperanza and myself on the more administrative aspects. And I see two. I'll take the first one. Do we have to form a team beforehand? Like, how many people should we form with? Esperanza, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, yes, yes. You need to. If you want to be an individual, it is fine. If you want to form a team, also fine. But when the time you write in your proposal, you need to provide the name of the lead participant, but also those team members who are going to take part in the in the challenge. Because all of the team members need to meet the eligibility criteria. So this is the thing we need to know: who are you, and you can take part or not. So it is very advisable, yes.
So as an information, so in previous years, when the mentors, they evaluate the proposals, sometimes they suggest to merge a team. This can happen, but it's not it's not a very good approach, because usually, the team, if a team can be formed beforehand, that is much easier, because then you can connect with others. And that is also something you can use GitHub for. For example, you can, if you are a single person, but you do not cover all the skills required in the challenge, you can ask if someone would be interested to team up. And we have very good experiences with this kind of team building in the past.
And you also say how many people. It is difficult to say, but it is good if you can complement skills, for example. So one more technical, or one more weather or climate orientated. So we cannot say how many people a team should be formed, but if the skills are complementary, are a good option.
Yeah. So Nadia, if you want to say something, please go ahead. So then we have the next question from Heron. Hello. May you clarify Article 3 in the terms and conditions services? ECMWF funding is available for nationals and residents of ECMWF member states. The end is a little bit ambiguous. Understood. Do participants that are legal residents of the UK but not nationals of any EU or related countries still join the ECMWF funded challenges? That's a clear yes. So let me. So here. So especially so I'm here at the terms and conditions. Especially the ECMWF funded challenges, you have to be either a resident or a national of ECMWF member states and cooperating states, or countries associated with the EU Space Program or with the Digital Europe program. So, and you have all the countries listed here. And probably we need to change that. That's true. So either a national or a resident of these countries, and that is true for ECMWF funding. Of course, then the other challenges, again, they have different rules. But here on, in your case, that would be possible. Then Quentin Nicolas asked, how long should the project proposal be, more or less? Well,
I mean, it's not going to be a scientific paper. No, but not 2 lines, or either not 2 lines. You stick to the requirements and be precise and all straight to the point. I don't know, Tina, what do you?
Nadia wants to say something, I think.
Yeah, Nadia.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. So it doesn't have to be very long. It have just to be precise and concise. Like just show them that you have the answer. The clearest, the better.
Yeah.
Yes.
As long as necessary, as short as possible. Well,
Exactly.
I know this is not a precise answer, but we are not counting words, and you have to think that someone needs to read it. So be precise. And I think the challenges are complex enough that you're not done with 1 or 2 sentences. And again, if you're unclear about some aspects, use GitHub and ask questions there.
Mhm. Yeah, the mentors will answer shortly, and they are the best sources of knowledge for any challenge because they came up with the idea. So don't be shy and ask questions.
So then for Marco-Jani, there's a question. I understand that within the submitted proposal, the timeline is playing a very important factor. How detailed should the timeline be? What is the level of granularity? Will there be monthly follow-up meetings? Nadia, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, I can answer. So first of all, it depends on the challenge. Like the timeline of each challenge will be different. Like just to give you an idea, for example, for our challenge, we had 3 components to develop. So like our timeline looked like, for example, week 1, we have to explore the data. We have to get familiar first with the data that we will be using. And after that, like from week A to week B, we will be working on that, the first component. From week C to week D, we will be working on the second one. And like from week D to week E, we will be working on the last component. And like the last 2 weeks will be for reviewing everything, making sure that it works, testing, documentation, and like this. So it depends really on your project. And for follow-up meetings, like the meeting with the mentors will depend on what you will agree on with your mentors. For example, for our case, we had bi-weekly meetings. So each 2 weeks we had a meeting. And sometimes when we have like some urgent questions, we just send an email and ask for a meeting, and they can like schedule one, like even if it wasn't planned before. So that was the case, in our challenge.
And Nadia, also the timeline will be discussed with the mentors, so it is more or less flexible.
Yeah. It's just the first submission, but it will be refined after you get selected with the mentors. Yes.
Yeah. Marco, maybe just keep in mind, it's not only, we are thinking also about the program is also about understanding and learning project management. And for the mentors, it's interesting to get an understanding. If you have a timeline and what you put in the timeline gives them also some more ideas how thought through your proposal is. So in the granularity, it's not that you need to every single dot. And as Esperanza and Nadia said, that can be adjusted. It's just, it's not only about having an idea for a solution, but also understanding how you can implement it. Good. I think so. I have answered.
I think there are no more.
No, I don't see any more. Are there more questions from the audience? No. Okay. So we have recorded the session. This will be put on YouTube, and we.
Another question.
Okay. No, very good question. No. So each challenge gets proposal, and for each of the challenge, one proposal is selected. So in the end, we might end up with 16 selected teams, and these are all winners if they finish the coding phase successfully. And usually in the past years, all the selected teams have made it to the final day. It's not so it's not that we want you to fail. On the contrary, we want you to succeed. So the so-called winners, they are decided in April. So it's not like you have to work and then at the end we just say, no, you're not winning. So for each challenge, we select one proposal that or a team, and that can go to the coding phase. Just to be transparent, we also had to terminate last year one project team during the coding phase because it didn't work out, so that didn't match. That can happen, but honestly, so I've been in the program since 3 years, 4 years now, and that happened once. So usually the selected teams make it to the final day and successfully finish their projects. Let's okay.
No.
So if I don't get the, so I don't get Mark, I don't get the first one. So if your project is selected, so if the mentors select your proposal, you can be already a winner, but you still have to, you have to pass the coding phase. You have to deliver the work within the 4 months. Let's say it's a two-step approach. So we select you, and then you have the chance to win the financial contribution, the financial support. But as said, like 99% of the selected teams, they successfully finish the coding phase.
Yeah, but you are not competing between teams. This is the key. We are not talking about winners, but selected participants. So if you complete the successful the project at the end of the coding phase, you will receive the financial contribution, but you are not competing with another team in parallel.
Yeah. So Juan David asked, when you say there's one proposal choosing, that means that the accepted proposal end up as a team, or that the team should be done for the proposal before? So as said, it's better to form your team before you submit the proposal. That's the best way to go, and we recommend everyone to do that. So if you are a single person and you're looking for a team members on a challenge, write that on. So we had last year, we had teams that found themselves on GitHub during the call for participation. So that we recommend this approach. So next question, if my project is selected, then if the coding phase is passed and is solid, then I could be a contender. So maybe forget about winners.
Yes, yeah. We
We are all winners. It's not that. So at the end of the program in September, we have all the teams that closes or finish the coding phase successfully, they're all winners. We are not selecting out of these selected teams another winner. So process is, you submit a proposal to a challenge. Per challenge, we select one proposal, and these selected teams, or this proposal with the team, goes in the coding phase. And then, you have to finish the coding phase successfully, which is not it's not rocket science. But you have to understand, you have to do that. And if you finish the coding phase successfully, then you receive the financial contribution as everyone else on different challenges. Okay. No, it's good. These meetings are meant for exactly such questions. And as said, if more questions come up, we are here. Nadia, did you want to say something? Oh, okay. On what criteria could multiple proposals end up merged? Yeah, that is something that comes from the mentors. And as said, we do not recommend that because that's not always the best way. So if given there is one challenge and we have two super teams, two super proposals, and the mentors suggest to merge them, then we would reach out to the people that submitted the proposal. But this can happen, but it's not always given. We rather recommend to maybe support two teams, but mergers have not been has been a lot of frustration within the teams and afterwards also with the mentors. But of course, we cannot. The mentors are the experts here; they have to decide, and but we're working we help them in the process on this decision. I hope this has answered your questions, Taranum. Taranum Tabassum. Good. Yeah, as said, I take the last question here and a separate question. The project is continued first by the participants. Yes, so the results of the projects, we put them on GitHub, and some parts of the results are even taken up by ECMWF colleagues, and of course the teams that have been working on these projects, because it's under open source software license, is available for everyone, and it's not that we keep them for us. As Nadia said, it's about openness, and ECMWF is supporting the openness in different areas, in science, in data, in software development. Good. And with that, as said, please feel free to reach out to us. You can reach Esperanza and myself also through GitHub, and we are following the questions there. And if there's some more administrative questions, we are answering them there as well. Or join us next week again for the second Q&A webinar, where we might have different questions.
Yes, the 18th of Wednesday next week.
Yeah. So a very big thank you to Nadia. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. And also to Sara and Diego. And then, of course, Esperanza. And for everyone who joined and your interest. And yeah, we recommend go for it. I hear that it's a great experience for everyone who participates.
Yes. You can confirm that, Nadia.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.